The Gobi Desert hides a deadly secret, the tomb of Genghis Khan. Where? 1,000 people were buried alive and a curse haunts. The great treasure awaits. Do you dare to continue reading? Journey to discover the mystery of the tomb of Genghis Khan, the king who conquered the world, the terrifying curse, the great treasure, and the traces buried for 800 years in the Gobi Desert. Do you dare to face the truth? Watch this dramatic video to discover the secret never revealed.
Legend has it that when Genghis Khan died, 1,000 of his tomb builders were buried alive to keep the secret. Horses were set free, trampling every trace of the tomb across the vast Gobi Desert. But that was not all. A terrible curse was laid. Anyone who dared to search for the tomb would face an untimely death. Rumor has it that the tomb holds great treasures, gold and silver overflowing, precious gems sparkling, and legendary weapons of the Mongol Empire. Some believe that Genghis Khan's spirit still guards the site, ready to punish trespassers. These tales of terror have kept people away for centuries.
Imagine being born into absolute obscurity, into a place seemingly devoid of opportunity. Nothing but grass, wind, and an endless sky stretching out in every direction. A landscape both beautiful and unforgiving. That's how Temujin, the boy who would later become known as Genghis Khan, started his life in 1162. Not in a palace, not in a bustling city, but as a simple shepherd boy on the vast and wild Mongolian steppe. No silk robes, no towering castles, not even the comfort of a permanent home. Just a humble yurt offering minimal protection from the elements. Just the daily grind of survival, a constant struggle against the harsh realities of the nomadic life. Every sunrise brought a new set of challenges, but Temujin possessed a spark, an inner fire that refused to be extinguished. He was never content with just surviving. He yearned for something more. From a remarkably young age, he observed the world around him with keen eyes, understanding it for what it truly was, a landscape both ruthless and unpredictable, a world dominated by those who possessed the will and the cunning to seize power and hold on to it. A world where strength was the ultimate currency. He learned this lesson firsthand when his own father was betrayed and poisoned by rivals, a brutal act that forever shaped his worldview. His family was subsequently exiled from their tribe, cast out into the wilderness and forced to scavenge for survival, reduced to eating roots and even mice just to stay alive. Most children subjected to such hardship would have succumbed to despair, broken by the weight of their circumstances. But Temujin was different. He didn't break, he learned, he didn't despair, he adapted, growing stronger with each challenge he faced. He meticulously watched how the various tribes interacted, how they fought each other, how alliances were forged and inevitably shattered, and he came to understand that fear, skillfully wielded, could be just as powerful, if not more so, than the sharpest sword. Temujin's true genius wasn't solely on display on the battlefield. It resided in his strategic mind, his ability to analyze, to learn, and to anticipate. He understood that to achieve true power, he needed to unite the scattered and often warring Mongol tribes. And he did so, not just through brute force and intimidation, but by offering unwavering loyalty to those who proved themselves worthy, and by delivering swift and decisive punishment to those who betrayed his trust. He implemented a meritocratic system where noble birth meant nothing. Promotion and reward were based solely on an individual's talent, courage, and unwavering loyalty. Under his leadership, former enemies set aside their differences and became brothers in arms, united by a common purpose and a shared loyalty to their Khan. Under Temujin's astute leadership, the once fragmented and vulnerable Mongols were forged into a single, unified, and virtually unstoppable fighting force. So when he was finally proclaimed Genghis Khan, the universal ruler, the leader destined to unite the world, nothing, it seemed, could stand in the path of his ascendant power. His disciplined and highly mobile armies swept across the vast expanse of Asia with the relentless force of a raging storm. Cities that dared to resist his rule were met with swift and brutal retribution, often wiped off the map, their populations decimated. But those who chose the path of surrender, who willingly submitted to his authority, often found a place, albeit a subordinate one, within his new world order. Genghis Khan's military tactics were undeniably brutal, but they were also incredibly effective, honed over years of warfare on the unforgiving steppe. He masterfully employed speed, deception, and above all terror as his primary weapons, striking fear into the hearts of his enemies. Word of his impending approach, of the devastation he wrought, spread even faster than his swift horses could ride, paralyzing entire kingdoms with fear. But here's a crucial point often overlooked. Genghis Khan's legacy wasn't solely defined by war and destruction. There was another, more nuanced side to his rule. He established a comprehensive system that fostered trade and cultural exchange, providing a safe haven for merchants, skilled artisans, and learned scholars alike. Under his protection, these individuals could travel freely and safely across thousands of miles of his vast empire, facilitating the flow of goods, ideas, and knowledge. He implemented an efficient postal route system, actively protected trade routes from bandits, and remarkably, demanded religious tolerance throughout his domains. As a direct result of his policies, the legendary Silk Road, the vital artery of East-West commerce, flourished as never before under his rule. In essence, Genghis Khan's actions, both intentional and unintentional, contributed to making the world a smaller, more interconnected place, a process that was sometimes achieved through blood and fire, through conquest and destruction, but also, surprisingly, through visionary leadership and groundbreaking innovation. Genghis Khan ultimately died in 1227, but his vast empire, far from collapsing, continued to expand under his successors, eventually solidifying its place in history as the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever seen. While it's undeniable that millions perished during his conquests, it's equally true that millions more were irrevocably drawn into the new world order that he had forged through his actions. Whether you choose to love him or hate him, to view him as a barbaric conqueror or a visionary leader, one thing remains undeniably clear. You simply cannot ignore his profound and lasting impact on the course of human history. From his incredibly humble beginnings as a simple shepherd boy on the desolate Mongolian steppe to his ultimate transformation into a world-shaking emperor, Genghis Khan irrevocably changed the course of history, leaving an indelible mark on the world that continues to resonate even today.
Legend has it that when Genghis Khan died, 1,000 of his tomb builders were buried alive to keep the secret. Horses were set free, trampling every trace of the tomb across the Gobi desert. But that was not all. A terrible curse was laid. Anyone who dared to search for the tomb would face an untimely death. Rumor has it that the tomb holds great treasures, gold and silver overflowing, precious gems sparkling, and legendary weapons of the Mongol Empire. Some believe that Genghis Khan's spirit still guards the site, ready to punish trespassers.
This is why
These
you need to know where
tales of
Genghis Khan is
terror
buried.
kept people
His
away
lost
for
tomb is more than
centuries.
treasure. It's a legend wrapped in danger. History's greatest secret is still waiting. No one knows exactly where he lies, or what riches and secrets are buried with him. Some say a deadly curse guards the tomb, with the blood of thousands spilled to keep it hidden. The sound of ghostly horses still echoes across the desert. Are you brave enough to go searching? Because some mysteries are meant to stay buried.
Imagine standing at the edge of Burkhan Khaldun, the sacred mountain shrouded in mist, knowing that somewhere beneath your feet, the most legendary tomb in history might lie hidden. For almost 2 centuries, this mystery has drawn explorers, historians, and fortune seekers from around the world. Back in the 1800s, a French archaeologist vanished into thin air after reporting a strange mound near the Kerulin River. No trace of him was ever found, just a few cryptic journal pages and a rising sense of dread among those who followed. Fast forward to the 20th century, when Russian and Chinese teams brought what they called modern technology to the hunt satellite maps, ground-penetrating radar, even experimental drones that zipped over the windswept steppe. Each new discovery, a buried riverbed, an ancient stone, a hidden valley, seemed to pull them closer. But just as quickly, disaster would strike. Equipment would fail mysteriously, expeditions would go missing, and locals warned of a curse that protects the tomb of Genghis Khan. Some swore the tomb was deep in the Gobi desert. Others insisted it lay beneath the holy slopes of Burkhan Khaldun itself, the same mountain where Genghis Khan was said to pray for strength. There, explorers found evidence of an ancient river, deliberately diverted centuries ago. Was this the secret to hiding the tomb for all time? But the closer people came, the more the Mongolian government said, enough. Out of deep respect for their greatest leader, they outlawed all tomb hunting, freezing the search in time. Yet the clues keep coming: strange satellite images, whispered stories, and unexplained disappearances. The tomb of Genghis Khan remains Mongolia's greatest secret, a legend that refuses to rest. And for those of us who crave answers, the mystery is far from over.
So where is the tomb? One theory is that it lies deep underground, where no light can reach. Others believe it is buried under the Kerulin River, where the water has washed away all traces. Some even say the tomb is hidden in a secret cave on Burkan Khaldun Mountain, a sacred mountain where the Mongols forbid strangers to set foot. Ancient Mongolian poems contain a clue. Under the shadow of the mountain, where horses dare not gallop, the king's treasure awaits rebirth. But is it fiction or a prophecy? Traces of local culture show that people still hold rituals to honor Genghis Khan's spirit, as if he were still among us. The Mongolian government, with deep reverence, continues to guard this secret, silencing any attempts to discover it. The mystery remains intact, as a challenge to humanity.
After 800 years, the mystery of Genghis Khan's tomb remains an unsolved puzzle. Tales of curses, treasures, and guardian spirits have become living legends. Does the tomb really exist, or is it just a secret buried forever? The Gobi Desert whispers in the wind, as if waiting for someone brave enough to explore. The journey is not over, it is just waiting for you. Think, dream, and perhaps one day history will tell its own story. Are you ready to take the next step?